Hey there, what's up? I thought I'd make another Unity video because I haven't in a while, and though, as usual, I don't promise anything, I thought I should kind of start a devlog or a dev vlog, I guess, about what I'm working on right now, which is something new, and also, at least for the start, explain what it is that I'm doing. And it's cards! Playing cards, so hell yeah. A little bit of story time. I'm learning game design, and in my game design class, we talk about games from many different perspectives. We talk a lot about Book of Lenses, which is a wonderful book that you should check out. It's called, I have it right here, actually, The Art of Game Design, okay, a Book of Lenses. It's a wonderful book, and as we talk about these things, we get assignments about what we talked about, with all kinds of limitations and restrictions, and come up with all kinds of ideas for games. We prototype them a lot as well. We write documents about them as well to practice that. And what we got to talking about is balance. Now there's a lot of types of balance. There's many types of balance in games. But we needed to think about something that you can balance. So what we could do is take one of our previous assignments and try and balance it with the different aspects of balance. Or we could think about something new, and the suggestion was to use playing cards, okay? A deck of playing cards. The reason to use a deck of playing cards is because most card games have a very large aspect of random chance. And balancing random chance, luck, and skill is a really strong thing that should be in pretty much any game. Some games are completely skill-based, and that's fine, but in any game that has luck, in any form, and most games have luck, even in tiny things, in random number generation, and even in small things, there's always that luck against skill and the balance between them, and almost every playing card game have that, right? So, and I love cards, okay, so I thought, yeah, I'll make a card game, and that's what I did. So I like TCG type games and CCG type games. I've never really played them extensively, but trading card game and collecting card game, there's usually a ton of cards, and what happens is that you have two players, each of them have life. It's usually 1v1. It's you know, I love cooperation, but I also love its opposite, which is competition. So it's a competition, 1v1, and you build your deck, and then you fight with the other person, and when you get his HP to 0, you win. There's a ton of games like that. Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, been there for like a million years. Now we're kind of starting the online revolution of Hearthstone, as well as Scrolls being very big. Well, Hearthstone being huge and Scrolls being a little bit smaller, though Scrolls is a better game, I think. But let's not get into politics here. And I wanted to make a game with the restriction of just a standard deck of playing cards. And this is a pretty big restriction because trading card games and collecting card games are just that. There's a ton of cards, and you want to collect all of them and trade for them, right? And all these cards have different types of abilities and stuff like that, with minions and spells and traps and secrets and whatever, okay? And lands and resources. They're usually a resource. So all of these things exist, and if I'm going to use just the cards in a standard deck, that's going to be pretty interesting, right? It's a really cool restriction, and I'm going to have to balance it. Clearly, these games need to be balanced. So I thought that's a really cool task, and that's what I ended up doing. And the first thing that I knew, and that pretty much sets the tone for everything, and then I built the entire game around it, is the main mechanic of summoning minions. And you do have minions. The way that I did it, the way that I thought about it, is minions usually have an attack value and a life value. So you're going to have, a minion is going to be 2 number cards, and the attack value is going to be on the top, and the life value is going to be on the bottom. So this is a card with 7 attack and 9 life, but if I do it like this, it has 9 attack and 7 life. So you assemble your own minions. And this is, I think it's pretty cool, and according to feedback that I got from other people, it's pretty cool. So I'm very happy with that mechanic. And that was the start, and then I started thinking about how to do it. I went through a ton of ideas, all kinds of ideas, and you know, you have to remember the entire information that you get in a card. You have the number, you have the color, and you have the suit as well. So I could use all of these types of information to do something, and I ended up with a game that I'm pretty happy about. We're not going to go over the entirety of the rules, But that's the main thing of what I did here. And I got to playing it quite a lot. I played, I think, up to now about 20 games with family members and people from my game design class. And it was a lot of fun balancing out, you know, all the different aspects of it, and it was pretty damn interesting. And eventually, I want to take it into a digital form. And I managed to do that, and I'm currently working on that, and that's why it's a Unity video, right? So I'm going to show you if I manage to ever close this pack of cards, which doesn't really want to close. I'll show you... Okay, I'll show you Unity itself, and what I actually have right now, which isn't a completed game, but yes, this is the one that I'm looking for. So I'm using the green, you know, it's kind of reminds you of poker, because I am using standard playing cards, right? So it looks kind of like crap, I guess, depending on what your definition of crap is. But this is how it looks right now. Graphics never mattered to me too much. I wanted to look, it's a prototype, I want it to work. That's the most important thing. And you can already see that you have a hand, the hand is sorted, you have your board where minions, this is just for, this doesn't really have a reason, I just did it for no reason. You have minions here, and you have your graveyard, you have your deck, and you have the opposing player right now. One of the problems, as you can immediately see, is really the opposing player. You can't really play a card game on one computer with two players. It's kind of impossible, it doesn't work, because you kind of have to, okay, finish your turn, and then have your mouse on the end turn, and then look away, and click it, and then the other player comes in, okay? And you need to not look at the screen. So it doesn't really work. Potentially, eventually, I want to have network. Okay, I want to put in network code, but that's something that first of all, I've never done before. I'm kind of dreading it. I've never done it before. It shouldn't be too difficult. I'm completely positive that there are solutions online, even for something very, very small such as this. Solutions that I should be able to use, and you know, it's basically, it's very simple network code of 1v1 matchmaking, so I don't think it'll be difficult to do that much, but I've never done it before, and I need to go into the research. I haven't done it quite yet, because first I want to have a game that actually works in that fashion, like I explained with, you know, on one computer. You want to have the prototype, the basic prototype working, and then we'll get into other things. So how did I actually put it in? I'm really happy with how it is right now. There's a really cool aspect here that I started with only the logical part, because what you have the logical part of the game, and then you have the Unity part of the game. So I actually started working without even looking at Unity. I only wrote code. I wrote code for all the classes that I'd need. I wrote the entire logic of the game behind it, of what actions you can actually take, what things can actually happen in the game. And only then I started connecting it to the graphics, which is basically the Unity engine. Because I don't actually have physics or most of the things that you usually use Unity for to do for you in that sense. So it's very, very simple. In other words, I could be using Windows Forms to make this game, but I'm still using Unity because it's a Unity video, I need to use Unity, right? And it's more comfortable to use Unity for this as well, because it's built to make games. So that's something pretty cool. I really enjoyed myself writing the logical part without even touching Unity, because I really like OOP. OOP is object-oriented programming, in case you're unfamiliar with programming, and what it, in a very, very simple explanation, what it tries to do is take real life and put it into the computer. So you try and mimic real life by with code, and the way it works is that in this case specifically is that I have a class. A class is just an assortment of code, you'd say is an object, okay? I have a class for player, I have a class for card, and a player is something that holds other cards, okay? It holds a hand, which is an assortment of cards. It holds a deck, which is an assortment of cards. It holds a board, which has minions. Minions are two cards put together. So everything, I built the card class, I built the player class, I built the minion class. I did the entire logic, and I really enjoyed myself because I haven't actually written raw code in quite a while, and it was a lot of fun. And then I started connecting it to the graphics, and that works completely. If I open up the console and I'll click, say, the 7, you can see that when I click it, it knows that it's 7, okay? In the code, it recognizes that it's 7. The game object, the card prefab that I have here, okay, if I click this one, it'll know that it's 9. The card prefabs, that are basically the graphic part, are connected to the logical card. And the logical card is connected to the game object. They know each other. So I can always have that connection. If I click something, I know what card it is, and I know where it is, and I have that connection. That connection exists for me, which is really good, and that took a little while to understand exactly how to do that. I'm pretty pleased with it. And another thing that I think is totally wonderful is that this game is static. It's completely static. Nothing is happening right now. I'm taking 0 CPU power because nothing is happening. I have no update loops in this game at all because I don't need to have any update loops. Only when I click something does something happen. Okay, I'm using events here, I'm using actions. When I click a card, it tells my game manager a card has been clicked, do something. Whatever it is that you need to do, do it. A card has been clicked, this is the card, enjoy. Okay, so that's something really, really cool, that there's no update loops. It's completely static. It's very efficient in that sense in terms of performance. I think at least that clearly there's a ton of redundant code, and I'm not a perfect programmer by any means whatsoever, but it works right now. I'm pretty happy with it. The last thing that I have to do, I just finished putting everything out in the layout. Okay, this is your graveyard, your deck, your board, your hand, the opposing deck. Doesn't have a graveyard or a board right now because I just didn't put it in for testing, but it works. What the last thing I have to do is connect the card clicks, write the game manager itself, where I click something and it does something according to what I clicked. So that's the only thing that I have left to do, really. It shouldn't be difficult, and then I'll have the game, the mechanic of what I explained, that one player is there and then they switch. That'll work. That'll be the main prototype. Then I'll have to start thinking about network, which I have no idea what to do. And that's pretty much what it is right now. Again, I'm not going to go into the entire rules of the game because I'll go into it once I have a player, you can actually play it. Once you can actually play it, don't worry, I'll go with you through the entire rules, or at least the rules as they will stand at that point, because they do keep changing from time to time, because I am balancing the game and thinking about it whenever I get to play stuff. And that's it. I'm pretty pleased with it. This is what I'm going to be working on. And for those of you who've been here for a little bit longer than that, you know that I've previously worked on Larry, which is a platformer. I kind of stopped working on it right now because the idea of that game is still not completely formed in my head, and I need to have a better grasp on it before going into it. It's also a rather ambitious project for what I'm working on right now. This I feel is a little bit more to my scope, to what I'm capable of doing alone, pretty much, because I am working alone right now for most of these things. And looking forward, according to my studies, what I'll have to do later. So I want to work on something a little bit more feasible. I am writing down, whenever I get an idea about Larry or something about Larry, I put it down, write it a little bit, work a little bit on it, but not really developing it right now. I'm working on card games. I don't really have a name for this right now. Currently, the project name is CCGG, which is a CCG game, because it's a card combat game. Which is incredibly dumb, but that's just what came to mind when I thought about the project name. So I'm sorry for that being stupid. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'll try and keep you updated. The next video will probably be when it works, which should be in about a week. Probably less, because there's not a lot. Really, the logic is there, I just have to connect it. And that's it. I'm pretty happy. I hope this has been fun and helpful. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys next time.